made the decision in their mind, like,
to do it.
They're doing the thing. Like, they're not playing around. They're not waiting. They don't need 6 months. They don't need like more help.
Right.
They don't need, it's not that their work is holding them. Like, they're going right now.
Right.
And it's like you make the decision, and you have to be a bit delusional, I think,
to
do it in the beginning, because now it makes all the sense in the world for you to have all these cameras, because you're like, you've got a following. But in the beginning, when no one was watching you, and you're like, yeah, I'm just gonna talk into a camera, and you're like, bro, like, what are you?
Right.
Like, what are you doing,
man? And it's like I'm fully in the dream.
Yeah.
I'm fully in the dream, despite what people think, or despite, it's like I'm fully present, and I'm gonna use what I have in order to start. And that's the biggest thing, bro. It's like, and I think we spoke about it a little bit too the other day, and we were saying we have to shorten the time between the dream or the idea and then the action in order to make it happen.
Yeah.
Like, shorten that as much as possible.
Yeah.
And just find a way to see if you can do it and fail faster.
Yeah.
Fail faster.
That's like my.
That's how you.
That's my whole thing. That's my whole thing, and like, I don't know if I mentioned this on our episode, but like, the first businesses that I tried to start were like these t-shirt brands.
Yeah.
When I was in university, and they were sensational flops. Like, they did not work at all. But it's like, it feels weird to even say it didn't work, because I never launched it.
Right.
Because I was waiting I spent so much time trying to like perfect the design, perfect every little detail. And sometimes this, like, because this is what I used to do, this was my form of procrastination, was being the perfectionist.
Right.
Of like, I remember I heard someone say this on a podcast. He says, perfectionism is procrastination masquerading as quality control. So like, in your mind, you're like, oh, you just think you have really high standards. Like, nah, you're just scared. Like, you're scared of just putting it out.
Oh, that's
and you're like, oh yeah, I'm just making it perfect. It's like, nah, bro, you're scared of what people are gonna think.
Wow.
And to your point, it's like, it's crazy because you said you're like, I'm living the dream. Like, I'm living in the dream.
Right.
And that's the crazy thing about like the delusion or the dream, is that you put in the work consistently, the delusion just becomes your reality.
Right. Yeah.
I'm like, that is like,
yeah, that's what's crazy. That's why I love it too, bro. I love to stay delusional, and that you're going with that and sticking with that, because it's like, to me, we can't lose that inner child, that dream state.
Yeah.
Like, that has to stay alive in order for big dreams to actually materialize.
Yeah.
That has to be there.
Yeah.
And if that's not there, then it's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
There's no way it can happen.
Yeah.
You have to be delusional
Yeah.
to do these things, and you have to know, like, it's possible.
Yeah.
And as long as you keep that, then it's good. But when you get into this world, they try to take that away from us and say, oh, be more realistic.
Yeah.
And it's like, to me, it's more realistic for me to bank on me.
Yeah.
That's realistic to me.
Yeah.
Like, for me to trust my work ethic and what I want, versus putting my life or my economic status or my fulfillment in the hands of somebody else.
Yeah.
It's like, no, that's my responsibility.
Yeah.
And I think entrepreneurship and dream chasing, like, that is the highest form of living a human life.
Yeah.
It's like being fully responsible for your life.
Yeah.
And accountable for it, and trying your best to have the life that you have sought out to have.
Yeah.
It's nothing cooler than that, man.
Yeah. 100%.
It's so cool.
You know what? Like, obviously, one of your iconic lines is "Go ghost and upgrade your life in silence."
Yep.
And it's interesting because I actually had this recently on like one of my stories. I spoke about it, and I called it childlike wonder.
Right.
Like, you have to maintain your childlike wonder.
Right.
Which is like, when we're kids, kids are the most delusional people in the planet.
Yeah.
Like, I was talking, I have my younger sister, she's 10. If I have a conversation with her, and this is from when she's like been super young, if I'm like, if I speak with her, I'm like out of me and you, who would win a race?
Right.
I'm 27, she's 10 years old. She will, without a second of hesitate, I will win.
Wow.
But every child is like that. Every kid is like,
it's like that.
Yeah, like, even you ask them like what they want to be. I want to be an actor.
Right.
I want to be an athlete.
Right.
I want to be a singer. Like, I want to be a firefighter.
And they mean that.
Mean it. Like, no hesitation, not delusion.
Right.
And then I think as we go about living life, it's like slowly you just see it systematically chipped away.
Right.
And it's like, you said it perfectly. It's like, oh, you have to be a bit more. I know you want to be an actor. You have to be a bit more realistic.
Right.
You know, how are you going to live? How are you, like,
how are you going to survive?
Yeah. And so the reason I even bring it to what you were saying about you have to upgrade your life. You have to upgrade your life and like living in silence is it's like your voice of who you are has to be louder than what the world is telling you you are. Yeah. Because the world is going to tell you, right, you should be working at like the office, or like you should stay in your town that you grew up in, or like your parents are going to be like, you should, I don't know, you should be with that person, or you should have that type of job. And you have to be like, that's the thing with the state delusional. It's like, nah, you have to, what do you think you should be? And that voice has to be louder, which is the most difficult thing in the world.
It has to be. It has to be. And like, because you're gonna see yourself be. If your voice is not the loudest, then you'll just be a reflection of how other people see you, instead of figuring out who you need to be in this world and how you need to operate in order to achieve the things that you want to achieve. And so your voice has to be loud so you can understand your identity, what you want, who you are, and have some sort of standing in this world. But if you keep listening to what everybody else is saying, and that's the importance of like the upgrading life in silence, where it's like, okay, I'm going to upgrade my life and I'm going to make sure that I'm hearing my voice. I'm going to make sure that, like we spoke about, like moving to the own tune of my music. You know, like, what am I thinking? What am I saying? What am I feeling? And then you can take into consideration how others are once you're secure within that. And like, it's not always going to be secure within the outcome. It's like, we put the work in, we don't know what's going to happen, but we have a dream and we're going to work hard to achieve it, but secure within the voice. Knowing that people are going to think you're delusional, but it's like, yeah, I'm going to stay delusional. Yeah. This is how I have to be this way. Yeah. In order for me to evolve and be the best version of myself and be who you see today. And then once you stay delusional the whole time, you know, people come back around or people see it. They might not even say anything. It might be, he said that. Yeah. He was gonna, and now you become an example of what it means to go all in. Yeah. You know, and like, you have to go all in. Yeah. You have to go all in. And people would say it's delusional to go all in. Yeah. You should have your cards here and there to play it safe. But to me, nothing in life is safe. Yeah. Everything is a risk. You hop in a car, it's a risk. You walk, it's a risk. You're in a plane. We see it nowadays. You know, rest in peace to all the people, you know, who've been losing their lives in these plane crashes like that. That's a risk. Yeah. There's risk everywhere. So why not take a risk on me? Why not take a risk on my dreams? Why not take it? It's like, come on, man. Like, why put the power in somebody else's hands when God gave me hands right here? Yeah. Oh man!
And you know what's like, and you mentioned this when we spoke on the episode. You spoke about fasting from music. Yeah. And I think you said something like special, which is we have to get used to like hearing our own voice again. Yeah. And I know that, you know what's actually, I remember it vividly when I was in university, and I'm someone that I like being social, but I also like being in my own space. Yeah, same here. And so when I was in university, it kind of went too much into the social. Yeah. And so it was interesting because I saw it even just reflecting back on it. I saw it even in like a social setting of like, when you're hanging around people too much and you're too much in the mix, you're like at every function, every party, every night out, every event. It's like, you start becoming this like weird mix of like everyone else's energy and personality. There's like nothing distinctive about you.
Oh, that's deep.
There's nothing of like, there's nothing that's you. It's just like, it's this person's sense of humor mixed with this person's temperament, mixed with this person's style of dressing. Like, it's like you have, and so I think that's why what you mentioned about upgrading your life in silence is, well, sometimes you need the quiet, you need the stillness, the silence, and the solitude.
Right.
And I think so often it's like, I had it with myself and I see it with other people. We're trying to avoid the solitude so much.
Right.
And it's like, bro, if you could just reconnect with yourself.
Yeah.
It's like, that's almost like the step one to this whole thing.
There's power in that.
Yeah.
There's power in that, like reconnecting with who you are. There's so much work that needs to be done that we avoid when we're just reflections of others.
Yeah.
Instead of figuring out who you truly are.
Yeah.
Because once you figure out who you truly are, then you're able to do the real work. Okay, what's my purpose? What's my reason for being here? You know, who am I on a deeper level? Not just based on who they see me as, because we tend to see ourselves as who people see us as. People's perceptions of who we are. And we let that be our identity. And it's like, what is our true identity? People might see some truths to who you are, but not everyone's perception of who you are is truly who you are. And keeping that in mind. And it's like, once you're able to understand that, bro, there's power in that. There's freedom in that. The freedom to stay delusional. The freedom to go after the dreams. Like there's freedom there. And I'm free.
Yeah.
I'm free. And once you have that sort of freedom, then the financial freedom comes.
Yeah.
And the different other, freedoms, but it starts with the inner work.
Yeah.
This is all a reflection. Like us being here, I was thinking I'm coming downstairs to come get you. I'm like, man, I watch his podcast, and you watch my videos. And I'm like, the work that we've done, not just in the outer world, but the inner world, for us to be who we are today, has allowed our paths to cross and be brothers from this point forward.
Yeah.
And it's like that to me that's priceless, man.
Yeah.
That's priceless. Like, we had to work hard in order to, and not just work hard. People think work hard is like, oh, like I had to lift a lot of weights, or I had to every day grind. It's like, we had to look in the mirror and face the music within for us to evolve into who we are now, to be an energetic match. Yeah. For our paths to cross. Yeah. That's what it is.
Yeah.
It's a crazy journey, man.
Yeah. On that, like, there's like a divine timing to life.
Oh yeah.
Like, you come across, I had this thing actually, the beginning of, because and we can even talk about the creator journey, because last year, well, the whole journey's been a roller coaster, but last year, we went through like all these ups and downs. Like, the channel blew up, and then like you start getting all the stuff that comes with that. And then right at the end of last year, I didn't even realize it, but like I burnt out in a serious way. And so it was weird. It's like, I think one of the things actually being a creator and entrepreneur, and this is actually, it's the other side that comes with the freedom, is that if you have freedom over your life, then that means that you have to make the decisions in the best interest of you. Yeah. And so you can't say it's because the job told you that, like, oh, they made me work, they made me work overtime, like they didn't give me any time off. That's why the reason you burnt out was the decisions that you made. Wow. And so anyway, coming out of that burnout, and like I remember beginning this year, one of the things I wrote in my notes is there's no such thing as coincidences. Yeah. There's no such thing as coincidences. And the reason that I wrote that is sometimes things happen to us in life and we're like, oh yeah, that's like, oh, that person mentioned that I was like a really great like speaker. Right. That person mentioned that I had a talent for this. So this opportunity just came up. Like, oh, that's a weird coincidence. Right. And we give things to, oh, this was just like some random thing. Yeah. It's like, it's not random. It's like a sign. Like, things happen. There's like a divine timing to life. Like, God brings you things in the right timing. Right. And the problem is that when you believe in things like coincidences, you neglect that sign as like, oh, this was just like some random thing. Ooh. It's not random. Yeah. You talking, bro. Like, and You know, even because I can tell you get like, why do you even have that reaction?
Because it's so true, man. People think it's a coincidence, and it's truly it's in sync. It's synchronicities, and it's a
That's
sign,
a great word, yeah.
right? It's a sign showing you that you're on the right path. I see those signs every day, whether it's through numbers, whether it's through how I feel, whether it's through just prayer. You know, it's just I keep seeing reminders that I'm on the right path, and like God is guiding me, and I won't think of it as, oh, it's just a coincidence. It's like, no, there's a reason why, you know, and not to be fearful or scared of anything, but to just trust the process even more. It's like, well, I'm already deep in it, you know, like, you know, I'm already a couple years in of noticing that all these coincidences keep happening. But if I keep calling it a coincidence, I'm going to miss the lesson. I'm going to miss the journey. I'm going to miss the story. Yeah. And like you said, people are missing it because they're dismissing it. And it's like, you are in it, but you don't see it. But if you don't see, then if you're not awake, like what we spoke about.
That's the issue I was going to bring up.
Right. If you're not awake, you won't partake in this journey. Yeah. And that's unfortunate, man. Because it's a great journey. Yeah. And I think everyone's in this collective journey together. But you have to realize, like, you have to realize that, like, there's a bigger thing at play here. It's way more divine than we think. And we are waves in this big ocean, but a wave is significant and insignificant. But there's signs that are at play. Like, this is the direction that this wave will go in. And we have to be conscious of those things. Like, this is the direction that God has for me. And let me swim this way. Yeah. As a wave, part of this ocean. This is my purpose. But one day the wave will crash. Yeah. It'll be repurposed. Yeah. And we'll go from there. But it's, you know, if people don't see it, if people aren't awake, man, they're gonna miss out on those divine things.
Yeah. You know, I love it because, and the reason I think it's so powerful, and even when you mentioned synchronicities and all that stuff, it's like, it's exciting to me. Yeah. Is because I think a lot of the times we have questions of like, what's my purpose? And, and that's obviously like your that's your whole thing right there. Yeah. Purpose driven. We have questions of what's my purpose? What am I meant to be doing? I remember when I was working, I spent years trying to figure out, like, I knew I always wanted to start a business from when I was 12, 13 years old. Right. And so when you tell people that, they always ask, what's the business? And I would never have an answer. And so even when I was working, I was constantly like, it's always in the back of my mind, like, what's the business? What's the business? What's the business? And it's like, when you actually stop searching for the answer, and you're just present, and you can just take in that thing that we mentioned, which is just about like, there's no such thing as coincidences. Just like, pay attention to the signs. Right. It will become so blatantly obvious. The thing that you're meant to be doing. Yeah. And the thing is, right, is because it's showing up in such small ways in your life, is that you disregard it, right? Like, anytime, and I'm just going to give some examples. It's like, I'll just reel it off as it comes to my mind. Anytime that you braided hair, everyone told you how great you are at braiding hair. Right. Every time that you spoke in public, everyone would tell you, oh, you're a great public speaker, or you have a great voice. Right. Every time that you would sing for someone, every time that you would play your music, someone would be like, oh, that's really good. Like, that beat you made is like spectacular. Anytime that you do like little imitations in the car with your family, they're like, wow, you can do really great impersonations. Right. Every time that you're in school at the back of the bus and you crack jokes, everyone is cracking up at your jokes. Right. But then we're still, so it's like all the signs
are there.
And you know what's funny with the podcast?
Gifts, those are the gifts that you have. Like you could use any one of them.
Literally, it's right there. It's right there. And it's funny because I remember when I was in university. Remember one of the things, one of my good friends, he said this to me recently. He was like, I always felt like you'd be great at podcasting. Wow. And I was like, what are you talking about? I didn't really even know I'd be great. Like, I didn't even know that. But it was interesting. I remember even when I was at university, people would just say this to me in conversation. They were like, you're like a great listener. You ask a lot of great questions. Like, you can make conversation with everyone. Right. And obviously myself at 18, 19, I was like, Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
Just keep it moving.
Right.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, and you just keep it moving. But like,
yeah,
it was like, now obviously with what I do, it makes perfect sense.
Perfect sense. Yeah.
But it's because you're like, that's cool.
Right.
You believe in coincidences.
Wow.
Oh, that was cool, and then you dismiss it.
That's a coincidence. It's like no, dive deeper. It's like, well, why do people keep saying that? You know, and then realizing that, you know, and like I said before, it's not a horrible thing to see people's perception of you or reflection, because sometimes people can see versions of you that you cannot see in yourself at that moment. But it's still up to you to examine and ask why. That examination process of saying, okay, well, why did they say that? Or why do people think that I ask good questions? Who am I? Is this my purpose? Am I supposed to ask some great questions to some great people? And it's like, yeah, you know, it's like, yeah, and now we're here. And I'll just tell you, man, I'm proud of you, man.
Oh, thank you so much.
What you've been able to build is amazing. And I'll always tell you that, because sometimes we need that reminder, especially when we're in the thick of it. You know, you're like, I know you say like 3 years in, right?
Yeah, just past 3 years.
You know, and now it's going to keep picking up, and it's going to keep being great. But we need those reminders of like, what you're doing is special.
Yeah.
What you're doing is special, man.
Thank you, bro.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
Oh,
I appreciate that. And it's likewise. I told you the same thing when we met. I was like, what you're doing is extremely impressive.
Thank you.
You know, actually, I wanna give people this, because I think it's really important, and you mentioned it, which is, even on this journey of staying delusional, or staying, you know, remaining like purpose driven, even within that, and even if your mindset is inclined that way, just as human beings, we still get disillusioned.
Right.
Like, you still go through moments where you're like, you're only seeing the things that you're not doing well.
Yeah.
Like, you start losing sight of actually kind of your gift in a way.
Yeah.
You're like, yeah, I ask great questions, I do this, and I do all these great things, but like, this one business thing, I'm not great with the numbers. Or like, you know, you start, because that's what we do to self-improve.
Yeah.
Is you focus on the areas that you think you have to make improvements in.
Yeah.
But then the byproduct of that is like, if you're only focusing on what you can't do,
oh man,
you start to think that you just can't do things.
Yeah.
And so one of the things that you said, which I think is extremely valuable, is sometimes it's very important to have people around you who can remind you of who you are.
Right.
Like, they can remind you, like, nah, you're really nice at this.
Yeah.
Like, you really are that guy. Yeah. And they can even in the beginning, they can see your potential before you can even see your potential. Right. I know I had that in my story with my business coach. But like, for you, who is the person, or like, what is the moment where someone around you, they like saw your potential before they were like, you can do this thing, and you didn't even really know it yourself yet.
Man, oh my gosh.
Let me turn my bell out as well. I'm messing up my audio.
That's a great question. You know, I think it really goes back to my mom. And the reason I say that is because she never doubted me. Or she never said that, oh, this is not possible.
Yeah.
She allowed me to stay delusional.
Yeah.
And go after my dreams. She allowed me to build a career on social media. And I didn't need anybody's permission. But when you have the permission of your own mother, oh, it's a good feeling.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
I know what you're talking about.
You know, it's like, oh yeah, we could do this.
Yeah, we could do this.
And like, to have the mother on board, what helps with that is you have her prayers, you have her guidance, you have her love, you have her support. And when you have that, it's like, yeah, I can do anything. I put my mind to. So she never like, she never made a fuss about me staying delusional. You know, and to me, that you're seeing something in me, even if it's not something specific, you're seeing that something good can come out of me, other than just working for corporate America and getting a degree.
Yeah.
And I mean, we both still have degrees, but what we're doing is this is next level. This is I'm starting my own corporate. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm starting one day we might have buildings.
Yeah.
You know, like we were talking about that. I was like, wait, hold on.
I was like, he's got a building.
It was like
it wasn't a suite. It was a building.
It was a building. Oh, man, I was like, well, we got to pause for that. That was great.
Oh my god,
man, just phenomenal.
Yeah,
like just the foresight, the vision that we can have. There's nothing that we can't do.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, you starts to get to this. It starts to get to this point where like the delusion, like your reality is even like a bit surreal to you.
Yeah.
Like, because you start off with like the delusion, right? Like you start off with this like aspiration of what you're going to do,
right?
And then there's moments where just along the journey you're like, this is actually becoming bigger than even what the delusion was.
Yeah.
Which then begs the question: was it ever delusional? Like, was it ever actually delusional?
Right.
Like you think about it as delusional, but like I'm like, was it actually ever?
Right.
Was it actually ever
this
delusional?
This was the grand plan.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fine. Was it ever really delusional?
Was it ever really delusional? If the reality that you're in right now, that you work towards, is now bigger than what you even imagined the delusion was in the beginning.
Right.
Was it ever delusional?
Wow. And now the question
is, to change the whole brand now.
Did that change the whole thing? Now it's like, are we dreaming big enough?
Yeah.
Are we dreaming big enough? That's why they say your dreams should scare you. If your dreams don't scare you, then you're not dreaming big enough. Because the truth is, though I think that quote comes from people who truly have dreamed pretty big before, and then they have done what we've done. Like, oh, we're here.
Yeah.
Oh, this is real.
Yeah.
Oh, this is not delusion anymore. So now we dream higher.
Yeah.
You know, and it's man, it's crazy, man. I like that. Was it ever delusional?
Was it ever delusional? You know, I love the thing that we say about the building.
Yeah.
We should tell people the story about
that. Yeah, go ahead.
Because basically what happened is, I don't even remember when we spoke about this before. It was after the episode we recorded, right? And so I think you asked me, what was the question? You asked me a question. Like, what's my favorite guest? Or like,
it was like, what's like a moment that was special to you, like something along those lines.
Yeah,
something along those lines, like your favorite guest, or like what makes you happy to do what you do, like what like that deeper reason of like something like that. Yeah.
So you asked me that question, I was like, and it's always so difficult for me to answer because we've done nearly 150 episodes, and like I love all of them. Yeah. Like you know what it is, like putting in content, like you're putting like your heart and soul into it.
Each one.
Yeah.
Into each one.
It feels like they're all your children. Like every single one. Right. You were like, you did the work, you recorded it, you put it out.
Right.
You looked at the response. Like you went through a whole process with all of them. But I told you, I was like, the ones that are most memorable for me is when I get to interview people that I was aware of them. I would watch their stuff as a child. Like I would watch them when I was like growing up, like as a teenager. Wow. And now I get the opportunity to interview them. And so I was telling you about, I went to London last year and I recorded with this guy called Robbie Lyles, one of our most popular episodes. And he's the founder of this YouTube channel called Arsenal Fan TV, which is my football team, Arsenal, soccer team, whatever, back home in London. And I remember watching the videos that he would make in 2012. How old was I in 2012? 13 years old. I was 14 years old in 2012. And I'm like, and the way that his channel starts is like, he's just after the football games, he would take like his friend's camera. He was a property surveyor at the time. And this goes back to being delusional because the guy's a property surveyor. He would tell his work that he was like, you know, driving somewhere to go like look at buildings in London. The guy was at Arsenal games, and then after the game he took out his camera and he would record the fan reaction. And that's common now in 2025, but back then in 2012 no one did that. It was all about like the pundits, like the experts, like no one cared what the fans thought. But he just had his camera out. And so anyway, he gets to the point where it goes from him just having his camera out. So where we are now, they've got like over 1 billion views. And so last year I go to their like headquarters. You can say headquarters,
Right.
but like go to their headquarters in London to record the episode.
Yeah.
And it's like this incredible experience, and probably the best like media production that I've seen so far.
Wow.
Like just in terms of like the operation and the way that things moved and like the workflows and everything. Like so impressive. But I was saying to Malique, I was like, we got in there. I was like, it wasn't just a suite. It wasn't just a room. He had a building. And then we started cracking up because we were like, a building? Yeah.
Man, from that beginning story to then having a building, it goes right into our convo right now about the delusion. Is it really delusion?
Was it ever delusion?
Was it ever delusion? Because you're gonna reach bigger and greater heights, and like that's the beautiful part, man. Like a building, and you can have that. Like that's how great life can get for you.
Yeah,
if that's something that you want, you don't have to have a building, but it's like that is a reality that you can tap into and say, yeah, I'm gonna have a building,
like an address,
right?
Like you have like
for your company, for what you have built,
for your delusional thing,
for the thing that people told you probably wouldn't happen.
Yeah.
And I try my best to stay away from people who are pessimistic, people who don't have that belief. But even if I'm around that, it rolls off me easier now because I've already seen the evidence of being delusional and how that pays off.
Yeah.
I'm titling this. I'm going to title of the video "Stay Delusional" with Colin Johnson. That has to be the title.
It has to.
It has to be.
It has to be.
It's so true.
You know what? I remember growing up. Like there was a period, kind of in my later teenage years. I think also in university. I don't know if you ever watched the UFC.
Like the fights.
Yeah, the fights.
Okay, yeah.
And,
I tune in sometimes. Yep.
And I remember I didn't see it as it was happening. I kind of saw it in hindsight, but like the rise of Conor McGregor.
Right.
And I remember like he'd have all these clips of when he was coming up. Now he's kind of gone off the rails. Like he might have gone too far. But at the time, when he was kind of like coming up as this like Irish fighter, like there was like no fighters from Ireland.
Yeah.
And he was coming up and like taking over the division. And I remember he said, there was this quote. He goes, he said, "I've lost my mind to this game," which is, and it kind of reminded me of what you were saying, which is, you'll get to a point where, in building your thing, in building your delusion into reality, you get so much evidence that you're making progress and that it's working. It's like you kind of actually are delusional at this point because you live in your own reality,
right?
Like in your mind, like I remember I'll say this to people. I'm like, I think the lane is wide open for us to be one of the biggest shows in the world.
Yep.
And like people might be looking at where you are now and then what you're saying, and it's like, what is he talking about? But like in your reality,
you can,
because you've seen so much evidence.
Like the evidence.
Who's gonna tell me that we can't?
Right. And because I'm a dreamer, I see that too.
Yeah.
I think you already are, but it's like there's more heights to reach, so you don't want to get comfortable. Yeah. But the Colin Johnson Show is already one of the biggest podcasts in the world. And you know that. Yeah. But you try not to tell yourself that too much because you're trying to be number one. Yeah. And that's just the hunger in you and the grind in you and the joy in you. Yeah. And the dream in you. It's like, let's keep going. Yeah. Let's keep going. Yeah. And like, it's gonna keep going, bro. Yeah. But there's not a lot of podcasts that not only in a podcast section, but then to bring it to YouTube and have the video form. There's not a lot of podcasts that have as many people tuned in. You know, and you're one of those, bro. You're doing it. And same with like self-improvement, which to me it's all self-improvement as well. If any content is helping you be the best version of yourself, then that's self-improvement in a way. But like in my niche, especially helping the men and being purpose driven, it's like there's not a lot of people doing that. It may look like it, but it's not. It's not, and there's not a lot of people doing that with an actual audience that's tuned in, saying, "Wait, you're helping me." Like this is really helping me. So I think we're doing something special, man. But it started with delusion. Yeah, it started with
you were the only one that saw it.
Right, the only one.
Yeah, because there was a point in all of our stories where like we hadn't released the video yet. Like you were the only one.
Yeah.
It was just in your head that you were going to do this.
Right.
And like, so yeah, it was delusional. But like, then you started doing it and it is what it is now.
Wow.
You know, can you actually, can you share the backstory of like those kind of early beginning stages with building your channel for purpose-driven men? Like, can you share because I think when people hear your story as well, and like the rejections, the job rejections, and like all of it, it's like, oh, he really was delusional in the beginning. Like, oh yeah, you really had to believe it. So can you share that?
Man, when I first started YouTube, I had a channel. It was just my name at first, and it failed. I didn't know what to do with it really, but I knew that I wanted to help people through it. And first started with using my phone, just the iPhone.
Yeah.
And I would go outside in Syracuse, New York, while it's snowing, while it's cold, while my fingers are freezing. And I'm doing this, and I'm like, I'm gonna make this video. I'm gonna make a video every day, because if this video can help one person, then I'm gonna keep going. Mm-hmm. And the videos will have like maybe one comment. It's like, hey, this was great. Keep going. And even if it was my own mom, bro, or my own, like my little brother, like they would be the views and the likes.
Yeah.
And you know, it didn't that channel didn't work. So I said, you know what, it's okay. I'm gonna restart, but I'm gonna be more focused and niche. And I think I know what I want to do. I'm a man. I'm navigating this world. I think we need to have healthier conversations around masculinity. So it started like that. And I'm like, okay, for purpose-driven men, I'm going to name out exactly what this and who this channel is for. And then it took off. I posted every day, kept that daily formula. Everything I learned from the failed channel, I brought to the new channel for purpose-driven men. And I brought the success with it. The success wasn't numbers. The success was the lessons that I learned up here, and the failing faster. And so I wasn't even upset that, I had some subscribers on that old channel. It didn't work out. But I'm like, this is the one. This was preparation for what I'm building right now. So started that new channel, started for Purpose-Driven Men, posted every day, and posted content that I knew would truly speak to people, being fully authentic. And I said, you know what? I want to have even better quality. Not that we have to use cameras, but I'm like, I'm going to get this one camera. You know, I'm going to invest in it. I'm going to go in debt for it to show how serious I am. I think sometimes God wants to know how serious you are for what you want. He's like, how serious are you? Yeah. I'm going to give you this lifestyle. I'm going to give you this. What comes with it is things that can feed the ego: numbers, popularity, status, money. And then I'm going to give you all of this, which is going to make your pathway harder to find a need. How bad do you really want this? Can you record a video in the snow? Can you buy a camera on credit? How bad do you really want that camera? Can you go in debt for your dreams? And some people will say, never go in debt. I get it, but I'm delusional. You know, and I have to, if it means it's gonna make me work harder and show God, I want this. And I wanted it so bad. I wanted YouTube so bad. Yeah. I promise you, so bad. And it's crazy for me to just be sitting here with somebody who had the same mindset. Yeah. And like, it worked for us. Yeah. And it's like, that makes me excited. It's like this is the living proof that we can really do anything. Yeah. We put our mind to. Yeah. And that, that's how it started, man. I just kept going, and I made a vow. I'm like, I'm gonna post every day. It's so ingrained in my DNA. I think we spoke about that, right? A little bit. Yeah. Like how posting every day is not just part of me. It's part of who I am. It's like brushing my teeth, man. I have to post every day. And it's I know that mindset's gonna continue to carry us forward.
Yeah. You know what? Oh my God, that was so much there. But one of the things you said it's like, it's actually, I don't know, we've kind of just reached a point in society where like, it's actually quite rare to speak to someone else that's also like delusionally pursuing their thing. And so it's like, made me think, because I've been, the last couple of weeks, I've been thinking so much about like meaning and like, what's the bigger picture and the bigger impact of all of this. And for me, it's like, I said this to someone on my team. I was like, I just want us to be like synonymous with that. Stay delusional, like the delusional. And it's because I want to build this community of people where it's like you can actually recognize one another. It's like, she's delusionally going after being an actress. He's delusionally going after this. And the thing is, it's not even just a business. Like, one of the most powerful things that I did in my life was, after university, I could have stayed in London, which is where all of my friends, the majority of my family lived, or I could make a decision to move to America. And yes, my mum lived here, but I didn't know, I had like some cousins here, but I didn't know anyone else. I had no job offer or prospect. Like, like, it's not just
push. That's so, man, like to be mature enough to say, or strong enough to leave that base there and move here. Like,
you know what's funny, actually? Wow. I would love to say that I was like so courageous. And, I would love to like paint the story, you know, like I would love to do that, you know. We're both storytellers. I would love to like give the story of like, you know, I was so brave, you know. But really, I think what it was, this is a big part of delusions, honestly. Is a big part of it was like naivety. Like, I was naive. Like, I didn't know everything that would come with it. Like, I remember that the first 6 months when I moved here, it was like isolating, because I didn't know, outside of my family, I didn't know anyone. And like, my mum lives in New Jersey, so it's like the suburbs, like very kind of, it's like harder to meet people than living in like a city. Because in a city, you're naturally around people, especially your age. Remember, everyone was like a young kid or like retired. Like, there was no one in like their 20s or whatever. Also, like, the job prospects were just more difficult, because it's like, I didn't have a resume or like any credentials that people here would care about. But the thing is, though, it's like all of that stuff can be worked through.
That's true.
I think that the big thing that helped me, and this is the big thing with even being delusional and like moving, sometimes you just need to make sure that like directionally you're in the right place. So like, you might have, for example, you might want to move to Atlanta or LA or Miami or like Austin or New York, because sometimes it's like you only know directionally you should be there.
That this aligns with what you're trying to do, but even if you don't have the rest of the staircase,
literally
knowing
the details are not figured out at all. There's no job, there's no friends, there's no, you know, you don't have a community. Like, all of the stuff that like would make it more logical, back to what we were saying before, more realistic, more logical, it makes sense to do it. It's not there yet, but sometimes directionally you can just feel it. Like, you were meant to be in this place. And so it's funny, I remember, and this goes back to this Conor McGregor quote. I remember I wrote this when I was making the move from, and this is in 2019, when I was making the move from London to the US, I remember writing in my notes, Conor McGregor has this quote. It was like when he was first getting into the UFC and he was starting to like, I think he'd won like 1 or 2 fights and it'd been like knockouts and all this stuff.
But like, he was going crazy.
But even at that point, because he wasn't even really in the like the main promotions yet, like the big cards. But even then, he was talking like, I'm going to be a 2-time. I think he said he wanted to hold both belts from like 2 weight divisions. And it was like, no one had ever done that. It's like, who's this Irish guy? Like, whatever.
Saying all this,
Literally. And I remember he got on the mic, because you know they always have the post-fight interviews. And he was like, I'm not here to take part. I'm here to take over. And I remember I heard that. I wrote that in my notes. And that was like the mindset that I had, like even coming here. I was like, I'm not here to take part, I'm here to take over. And so directionally, it was just part of this like mindset of, bro, I'm just going to go after the thing I want. And I don't know, honestly. And it was like so much naivety. And honestly, I thought it was going to be way easier than it was. I remember when you were talking about, because it's funny, actually, we have this in common in our story. I don't know if I got to 200 to 300 job rejections, but it was like in the vicinity of that. Like it was a lot of CV, cover letter, hit the application, application doesn't even really get a response. It just like, I think after a certain amount of time, if they haven't rejected you, it's like the system times out, and it will just automatically send you a rejection. So I would get rejections after 3 months, like clockwork, from every job that I was applying to. But yeah, it only takes one person to say yes. Yeah. You get one person says yes, and then, okay, you're off to the races. Yeah. And so... Yeah.
It's a process, man. And it's when that happened to me, I was like, yeah, I'm going to focus on what's working. And people kept telling me, keep applying, you know, don't stop applying just in case. And, you know, job security. And I'm like, nowadays, nothing's secure. Yeah. And people are seeing that. Like, there's no secure job. Yeah. From the government level to any level that anyone's on. Yeah. Nothing's secure. So why not build my own security?
What gave you that confidence?
Man, I felt like because it was the only thing giving me feedback. It was the only thing giving me evidence and proof. And I don't know if people really understood that. Like, they were like, you want to be a YouTuber? And it's like, if I post my first video, I already am one. I'm just gonna keep posting. And there's evidence in this. There's viewership. There's comments. There's people their lives are being changed. People are saying that my videos have helped them to not commit suicide. Like, things like that. When it gets that deep, it's like the conviction here is so strong. I don't expect people to understand. Yeah. You know, the conviction to do this is unbearably strong. And so it's like I had no choice. Even if I had a job and got hired, you know, just to make some money, I would still be doing YouTube, even if it didn't pay me, because I saw how much people it was able to help. So that kept me going too. And then just evidence and proof. Once I got my first paycheck from YouTube, I was like, oh,
you're off to the races.
I'm like, this is actually a possibility. And I mean, the check wasn't even that much. I remember the numbers, it was $457. But it was way more than what I had at the time. Yeah. And it was through me doing something that I love and helping people. Yeah. And it's like, that to me is the beautiful thing, man. Just being of service. You know, being of service. And I'm fully into that. And I'm fully like working on myself. Because the more that I work on myself, the more that I'm able to help others work on themselves. Because the way that I speak and the way that I convey messages will get better. Yeah. You know, it will get even better with time. So, man, I'm just grateful to even be in a position of positive influence. Yeah. You know, and it's a blessing to me. I couldn't see my life being any other way, man. Yeah. You know. Yeah. It's crazy. Could you see your life being any other way, or do you feel like this is?
Oh no, I couldn't. It's weird. Like, I remember there's something I want to come back and ask you about. I'll say this, which is I was having this conversation with someone recently. You know that phrase, people will be like, we'll talk about like winning the lottery, like, oh, if only I could win the lottery. I don't know if this is like a hot take or what. Maybe this sounds delusional, sounds crazy, I don't know. Yeah. I was like, I do not want to win the lottery. Yeah. I don't want to win the lottery. And there's even like people give that hypothetical of like, if you won the lottery, so basically like, if money wasn't, like you didn't have to worry about making money, like what would you do? I'm like, I'd just do what I'm doing now.
What I'm doing now.
Yeah. Like, I like
that freedom there.
Yeah, right? Because like, I think when you find your purpose and your calling, it's like an extension of your being. Yes. So it's like, what? Like, I would be doing this anyway.
Regardless.
Like, the core essence of what I do, I would be doing it anyway. So like, maybe it wouldn't be recorded or it wouldn't be called a podcast, but in like every version of this,
you would be.
I'm doing
If I placed you in a world before microphones and cameras, you would still be doing what you're doing. I would still
be having these like sort of conversations because it's an extension of my being.
Right. You be in the Roman Colosseum.
Yeah, I don't even know.
Just, you know, just having a conversation with the
before the gladiators like get out there. I don't know like what it would be, but it would be some version. It might not even be that elaborate. It might just be around the dinner table. Like I didn't even know, but it would be some version. But you know what? You said something. I was like, oh my God! I was like, that's so powerful and like. It's underrated. You said as soon as you post your first video, you're a YouTuber. Yeah. I think you said as soon as I posted my first video, I'm a YouTuber, and it's like the identity piece of that, of people, and I had this. I remember I remember there was a point in my journey where I quit my job to do the podcast full time, and like it wasn't we didn't have the numbers like we do now.
Yeah.
And so I also moved from living in the Lower East Side of Manhattan to moving back to my mom's house. And so I'm like,
and I remember with the podcast with Dan Cole, you were speaking about because I did my research too, man. How you were working a job and going all in on the dream.
Yeah,
you were doing both.
Yeah,
like I was in college and I built a YouTube channel. I'm like, yeah, we are multifaceted. We're able to do both.
Yeah,
so I just want to give you a credit. I know how hard that is, man. But you made it happen. But go ahead. Yeah.
No, but you know what it is? It goes back to what we said in the beginning. It's like, bro, human potential is so crazy that as soon as you just make a decision, like I think that's the biggest problem that I've seen in my life and then with others. It's like you just haven't made the decision that you're gonna do it yet. Yeah. You might have told yourself, I'm gonna become a singer, but it's not you saying it. It's like in your actions, how you show up. Right. Like people can feel it when someone's serious. Yeah. And so like if you're serious, and I even say it like that, like you're serious. Then it's like, oh yeah, you're gonna go to school and still do your dream on the side. You're gonna go to work and work from 9 till 6, and then probably have dinner for half an hour, and then from 6:30 till 11 build your thing, because it's like you made the decision. Yeah, like it's done. Like it's not oh, I'm too tired. Like you might be too tired, but like
you made a contract with yourself. That's what Kobe said. I made a contract with myself.
I think I love Kobe, but the other thing he said, I'm not negotiating with myself.
I'm not negotiating with myself. Right.
It's like you made the decision.
Come on. It has to get done.
It has. Like, what else is gonna?
What else? That's what it is, man. Like, I was making the YouTube channel. I was like, this is going to work. What do you mean I'm not dropping a video today? I have to, no matter what, because what other option is there to put my future in the hands of people reading my resume, and they have no clue who I am and what I could bring. And my wife told me to mention it in the podcast, and
your story is just that. Especially at your age and at that time, that you had like the voice and almost like the strength of like your presence of knowing like, nah, that's like the world might be telling me that like I can't get a job, and the only job they're gonna give me is like the front desk. I ain't the front desk guy.
I ain't the front desk guy.
You should write on a t-shirt or something like that. I ain't the front desk guy.
That's what they wanted me to do. And it's crazy, right?
But now that looks delusional, right?
Yeah.
Like with what you've achieved, right? Like now that seems delusional.
That seems delusional. When I and this is I made a joke with my wife, and I know this is the ego speaking, but we were talking about it the other day. We were making a joke, and she was like, "Can you believe that people saw you as like the front desk guy?" Yeah. And I was like, I said no to that, and I said yes to being a public figure. Yeah. I'm like, let me just help the world. Let me be somebody important, because I know who I am. Yeah. And everyone's important, even that person at the front desk. But you have to know your own song, the song that's within you, and step to that beat. Like, who are you supposed to be? And there was people, even when me growing up, they were saying like, oh, you're going to be big one day. Or my mom, she saw you, she met you, she read your energy and your vibe, and she said he's gonna be famous one day. And I try not to share that, because it's like those stories aren't for like my own ego, but it's for my understanding that I will have a responsibility.
Yeah, it's responsibility.
It's responsibility. With status comes responsibility. So what I hear is you're gonna be very responsible for a lot of things one day.
You're going to be impactful.
You're going to be impactful one day. And so, that's how I see being like a public figure. It's like there's a lot of impact that could be had here. There's a lot of change that could be made here. And I take that responsibility very seriously. But it is better than being front desk. Yeah, it is.
And that's the thing. It's like, I was just thinking about that, even like the last 15 months, obviously, like we've spoken about what you've done. But there's another version of the story where like you could have just been the front desk guy for 15 years.
Yeah. We wouldn't have met. Maybe if you came.
Yeah, maybe if I came to the
in a hotel in Atlanta,
you would have welcomed me in.
Yeah, and you would walk right past me,
and that would have been it.
Yeah,
and it's
that's crazy, right?
Yeah,
lost
15 months.
Wow, could have done that.
Yeah,
if I didn't fully believe in myself.
Yeah,
and just applied for a front desk guy.
Yeah, if you'd listened to what she had said.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm the front desk guy.
Right.
A lot of dreams die like that.
A lot
of dreams die because someone else told you who you are instead of you listening.
Right. Oh, let me get a steady paycheck. I don't want my paycheck to be steady right away. I want to earn that.
Yeah.
I want to be the one to make it steady.
That, yeah.
You know, it's like you just get hired off of, and there's nothing wrong with that, but I'm willing to grind. I'm willing to build my own table. You know? Yeah. I'm willing to do that. Like that to me is awesome. And at a certain point, even being responsible for somebody else's paycheck. And like helping somebody.
That's real responsibility.
Feeding somebody else's family. Like, you know, hiring people. Like I know that maybe one day that'll come. Right now, I've been able to do a lot solo. A lot of what I built is solo. I do have like a business partner that helps me put things together and understand certain legalities. Yeah. Like with the book dropping and stuff like that, and getting counsel on that. What's the best way to do this? Like, so I'll have that, but for the most part, a lot of what I do is just me. Yeah. But I know one day I'll be responsible for I'm responsible for one person now. Like when it comes to just business venture, I'm responsible for my wife. But I know one day I'll be responsible for my children, and I'll be responsible. So it's just, you know, when you're in corporate, it's like you're hoping that they can up your position because when you get older or when life goes on, more responsibility comes, but the paycheck doesn't rise. But the thing is different here because the more people we help, the more responsibility we're given, but also the more potential we're given to earn. And that's a cool thing. I remember growing up, I always said, I want to be a millionaire one day. But now I know why. I want to give back. I want to have generational wealth. I want to have something to leave. Like I mentioned in the podcast, and it was hard to say because she's an amazing woman, but grandma left nothing. Grandma left nothing. All we have of her is her ashes. And it's like, I don't want that to be my story. Yeah. You know, for my family's sake. And now I have the privilege and the responsibility of doing it, like we're seeing that and not minimizing her impact, but appreciating how hard she worked and saying, okay, let me be delusional. Because maybe she had dreams that she didn't have. But I have dreams now that I know I have. And I'm going to go after it, and I'm going to make something of it, and I'm going to try to leave something behind. Yeah. And it goes beyond money. We spoke about that too. It's beyond money. Yeah. It could be a book. It could be content. Yeah. This is how we do it. Like, I don't have much video footage. Like, if my grandma was like a YouTuber, to me, she would have left something way more important than money behind.
All the wisdom, all the experiences.
The vlogs. These things live forever beyond the moment there's nothing better than this present moment, but this will live beyond. Yeah. And like that, you know, I'm just glad that we have picked something like this, because already, as soon as you press record, you're leaving something behind for generations. Yeah. It's cool.
It's crazy to think about it, yeah.
It's crazy, man.
It's crazy. You know what? One of the things, I think I saw this on Twitter, but it's always been the way that I've thought is, because everything, back to there being no coincidences, is right. Like, there's a context for everything, even from before we're born, right? Like, for your mom to meet your dad at the moment that they met, right. Like, there was a whole context and like decisions and people, even like your ancestors being delusional. Like, I think about it even from in my context. My grandmother, which is the only grandparent that like I've met, like she was alive when I was born. She born and raised and grew up in Sierra Leone in West Africa, which is where my dad's side of the family's from. Yeah. I don't know exactly at what point. She was probably like in her 30s, I would assume. Mm-hmm. She makes a decision, and she has 4 children. She makes a decision. She has 5. She makes a decision to move from Sierra Leone to a little island in Europe called the United Kingdom. And it's like, yo, because like for us right now, because of the age that we live in, and like we're living in America, for us being delusional is like what we're doing, right? Like it's YouTube, or it's like media, or it's like building an audience, all this stuff. Bro, the level of delusion for someone that's living in Sierra Leone in West Africa to be like, I'm gonna move to Europe, or like I'm gonna move to this small island in Europe, I'm gonna build a life there, and I'm gonna basically fast forward the development and the comfort of my family for generations. Like there were people before you that were delusional just so you could be in this position. To even like be delusional. Like
that makes so much sense.
And that's the thing, like, and it's even the thing with it. It's like it's not
true.
just
That's true. Because my grandma came from Jamaica. So my grandma came from Jamaica first, and then moved to the States.
The delusion just to make that decision is
delusion to make that decision. And then my mom was in Jamaica, raised by her father, which is my grandfather, and she would visit America from time to time. And then she decided, well, let me be in America full time for a better life and for more opportunity. And so because my grandma made that move, it showed my mom what's possible. Well, if my mother could go to America, then I can too. And so then she went to America. And then I was born here. And now I'm a citizen of the States. And I get to dream big. And I get to be delusional. But that came off the backs of others. So you are 100% right. It's delusion after delusion after delusion. And life is supposed to progress that way and get better and better and better.
But I read out my story a few weeks ago. Because I was in Chicago. And I was doing like this tour of Chicago, and the tour guide, like a very quirky guy, an interesting guy, kind of funny. But as we're going through one section of Chicago, he says, it's like people call this like this area like the second city. I think is what he said it was, the second city. And the reason why is because, what was it? Was it 1871? There was a year where it was like the Chicago fires, where like the city of what it was to that point basically all burnt down. And so when it burned down, architects from around the world come to Chicago to rebuild the city. And one of those architects, they ask him like, what are your plans? Like what do you plan to build? And this guy's the leading architect. I'm going to butcher the quote, but basically what he said is, he said, I only have big plans because big plans stir something in men's blood. And so anything, and he said, on the other hand, like small plans end up most of the time not even going anywhere. And it's like, bro, like even the guy, like if you go to Chicago and you like see the buildings, now you're like, wow, this place is like really built and like really nice, and the architecture and everything. Bro, it started with one dude that was like, nah, we're not gonna just build some like small buildings. We're gonna build big things. And so like even the thing that we talk about someone making a decision, it's like, bro, like I remember seeing this on Twitter. I think one of the dream for me, the delusion for me is that someone could look at the history of my family and they're going to see my grandma and be like, okay, she undoubtedly moved the whole thing forward. And then my dream is like, and then obviously like my parents have done a lot as well. But like my dream was like, someone could look at my life and what I did and be like, oh, he really pushed this whole thing. Like if I was going to look at your bloodline, it was like, when that dude went from getting 200 to 300 job rejections, and instead of taking the front desk job, he did the YouTube thing. That pushed this whole thing forward.
Oh, changed everything. Oh man, you're right.
Changed everything.
You know, these choices that we make. It's these choices, and then like the butterfly effect comes in as well. It's like, if I make this choice, then the potential is I could keep doing, or the generations, like everything changes. Versus if I were to make this other choice. And that's why like trusting your gut is so important, because if you don't do it, and if you don't start thinking delusional and thinking big, then your kids won't.
Yeah.
And the truth is, if we were to think about our own, like our future kids, and we're like, okay, how, do I want the world to beat them down the way I was beaten down and not believing in myself? You would realize, no, I want my kids to stay having that dream and living the life that they want. So it's like, why not do that for yourself?
Yeah.
And sometimes I'll think about my future son and I'm like, would I ever tell him no? It's like, I don't want to tell him no.
Yeah.
I want him to know anything is possible.
Yeah, anything is possible.
Any dream that he has, he can do. Anything. But that starts with me.
Yeah.
And I have to heal that generational trauma or whatever it is, like the self-limiting beliefs. And sometimes heal myself, because I think we're born free, and then the world tries to, imprison us a little bit with the thinking of, oh, you have to do it this way. And then you realize, well, I could really do it any way I want.
Yeah.
I just got to go for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So good.